Howdy, Immortalium here. Today I'm reviewing Kisses, Sighs and Cherry Blossom Pink. Now, if you're familiar with my, favorite manga, you'll know that my sixth favorite manga of all time is a manga called Girlfriends, written by Morinaga. It is a insanely touching, emotional, powerful story, let down by a slightly weak ending. But I still found it amazing and beautiful, and it is one of my favorite manga. So when I found out that another manga from the same author was being released in English, I knew I needed to get it. Now, even before I got it though, I had heard that it wasn't as good as Girlfriends. But I didn't mind that. I knew that Girlfriends was a hard one to top. So I just thought that it would be great to see the author's other works. So did that, occur? Did I, enjoy it despite, the fact that it wasn't as good as Girlfriends? Yeah, I did. But there was a flaw in it that I wasn't expecting. And I'll get into that in a moment. In fact, actually, I'll get into it kind of now because I need to. Usually, I open up these reviews with kind of a quick opening summary of the story, but I'm gonna have to point out this is of the main story. I'll explain what I mean in a moment. So basically, the plot of Kisses, Sighs and Cherry Blossom Pink is that these two girls here, Hitomi and Nana, they are like best friends. They've been best friends since elementary school. And they're supposed to go to the same high school, Sakura High School, but Hitomi decides to go to another school because it's more prestigious, which of course strains their relationship. And they then start to realize, both Nana and Hitomi, that their feelings for each other are a little stronger than, simple friend relationship. So they must, to try to develop that relationship and come to understand it, while at the same time keeping it a secret from everyone else. And that's basically the plot, and it is very good, it is emotional, it is well developed. The main plot itself is very good. Again, the characters themselves lack the charm, like the intense charm that Mari and Akko had in Girlfriends, and there was far more development and conflict in Girlfriends, but it was still a great little story. Now, my main issues with this, I will start with this. There are side stories in this. And when I say side stories, basically, this is quite interesting. This manga was originally published, Kisses, Sighs and Cherry Blossom Pink, before Girlfriends. That would be in 2003. But it was only of the main story, the story of Hitomi and Nana, with I think maybe one or two side stories. But 9 years later, after Girlfriends, well, not 9 years later after Girlfriends, 9 years after the first publishing of this, Morinaga came back and put a whole bunch of side stories into Kisses, Sighs and Cherry Blossom Pink. Stories of other girl love at Sakura High School with kind of cameos from, other people in the story, in particular Nana and Hitomi. And I confess these stories did not do too much for me. They seemed to, first of all, they weren't nearly as well developed. They're short stories, they're one-chapter stories, so they're not nearly as developed as the main story, and that makes them less interesting. The girls lack the charm that either the couple from Girlfriends has, or Hitomi or Nana are, and also they just completely ruin the pacing. You progress on, you're progressing on with the story of Hitomi and Nana, and then you hit one of these chapters and you're kind of like, okay, I really want to see what happens to Hitomi and Nana next. So that I did find that problematic. The other problem that I also found with this was because there's about half of this manga is about other girl love at Sakura Kai. It falls into that flaw that I found with a lot of kind of same gender relationship manga, and that is everyone in the manga seems to want to participate in these kind of relationships. So if it's the yaoi or shonen ai one, then a lot of people, a lot of the men in it are gay, and then the yuri from what I've heard, I've actually only read this and Girlfriends for Experience with Yuri. A lot of the girls are gay. Now, Girlfriends, you know, basically the only, you know, same-sex relationship was Akko and Marie. So that pleased me to no end. It was very realistic. It was very, you know, tastefully done. In this, though, it seems that almost every girl, like, well, not every girl, obviously, but a lot of girls at Sakurai are gay. And not only that, but a lot of those that hang out with our main characters here. And I found that kind of unrealistic. I found that a bit odd. So, overall, with the side stories, I just found them quite unnecessary. They didn't really add too much. Now, at the back of the book, they seem to try to make them more relevant than they are by having this quite complex character relationship chart, which basically shows the protagonists from each story and their relationship to each other. But in reality, each story didn't really have, like, each side story didn't really have any relevance to the main story. You could have just read the main story without reading those other side stories. Now, that's not to say that the side stories are bad. It's just that they'll lack the quality of the main story, and basically I just got impatient. That's the best way to say it. So overall, I enjoyed this manga. I can see how it would progress on to become Girlfriends, but I found Milk Moringa's idea of coming back and making other Yuri stories in the high school a bit odd, and it kind of actually makes the manga a little less of a good read. The artwork itself, as one might expect, the artwork in the main story, being drawn before Girlfriends, isn't quite up to the same standard or quality. The characters go off model more often than might be expected. It's lacking some of the details, the finer details that, you know, Girlfriends had. Overall, it's not as good looking as Girlfriends. It's still a fine looking manga, don't get me wrong. When you have panels like, let me just find one that's quite tasteful now, just like this here. It's got that soft, kind of detailed look. Very appealing, very nice, but from a pure artistic basis, definitely go with Girlfriends. From a story basis, go with Girlfriends. Basically, Girlfriends is the superior manga. But does that mean you should not get this? No. This is definitely worth getting. Just be prepared to be, you know, not quite disappointed. Just prepare that it will be a quality dip from Girlfriends. So, overall, yeah, I enjoyed it. I recommend it. So, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and bye-bye.